Hey everybody, it's Peter Boland. First of all, thanks to all my Facebook friends for blowing up my page today. Yeah, it's my birthday. I turned 64 years old today, June 24th, 1958. That's when I made my corporeal appearance here on the planet in the middle of the 20th century. And here we are in 2022. But you know, June 24th will no longer just be known as Peter Boland's birthday. From now on, it's going to be known as the day the United States Supreme Court overruled 50 years of liberty protection. A majority of Americans today, women, lost the fundamental liberty over their own bodies. And in many states, 19 already with trigger laws, and by the end of this year, 26 states, there will be a slew of abortion bans, some the most extreme, banning all abortions, even in the case of incest, even in the case of rape, and most shocking, even in the case of the life of the mother. So women have now, according to the United States Supreme Court, been turned into breeding animals who have less rights than livestock. It is a staggering moment. I despite all the words flooding out of my mouth, I'm a little speechless. I don't have much to say yet. I'm still in kind of reaction mode. But, you know, for the 30,000 women who die in botched illegal abortions every year, this is yet another setback. That's why I'm wearing my coat hanger around my neck. Far from pro-life, this is a coerced birth move. And I'm not going to use the terminology anymore that the so-called pro-life movement asks me to use. I'm going to call that movement what it is, the forced birth movement. So those who favor forced birth are willing to jettison the most fundamental liberty right, the right over one's own body, one's own medically intimate privacy. And the reason, according to Justice Alito, who wrote this opinion, this majority opinion, is because he can't find historic precedents for abortion in the Constitution. That is a fascinating legal misstep in my non-legally trained opinion, because you know what else doesn't have legal protection in the Constitution? Gay marriage, gay sex, the access to contraception. It just goes on and on and on. No longer is the United States Supreme Court the arbiter of liberty, but it has instead been turned into an arm of the political right. Over 90% of Americans favor the exception of except in the case of the life of the mother. Over 93%. Over 80% favor the exceptions for rape and incest. Although in many state legislatures, you know, what Alito's ruling, what SCOTUS's ruling does, it kicks it back to the states. And so by the end of the year, more than half the states will have these restrictions. Thank God I live in California. So I'm bringing all this up today because I guess I do have a lot to say about it, and I want to invite you all to join me next Friday, a week from today. I think it's July 1st. No, you know what? I don't have a program that day. It's going to have to wait till the week after. 2 weeks from today, July 8th, for my next Friday reflections, because I'm going to devote the whole program to this subject, to the subject of reproductive freedom. And I'm not a politician, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, but I will talk about it from the perspective of philosophy, the philosophical traditions. And let's look at liberty. Let's look at John Locke's argument that liberty begins in liberty over one's person, liberty over one's body. And if you don't have liberty over your own body, what does liberty even mean? So we'll start there, and then we'll look at a lot of the other philosophical ramifications of today's shocking, mind-blowing, and historic ruling overturning Roe v. Wade, something the Supreme Court really has not ever done, to erase fundamental rights from over half of the population of the country with the stroke of a pen. And I hope all my fellow Democrats out there are feeling energized and, you know, Sure, feel knocked down, but be sure to also follow up with getting back up. Let's go to work. Let's look for electoral victory. I think this is going to turn out young people in November like nothing ever before. When they realize they can't get their IUDs and condoms anymore, when they realize abortion is gone, when story after story after story sweeps through media in the rest of June, July, August, September, and October, leading up to that first week in November when we all vote nationally. Reproductive freedom is on the ballot. And believe it or not, despite all of attempts to restrict voting, the ballot is still our most potent tool. In this recent June primary here, or May primary in California, 3 out of 10 people voted. 7 out of 10 people did not vote. That's going to start to shift. If we could even get half of us voting, this would change. So, a lot to think about. I refuse to feel defeated. I refuse to feel despair. Yes, resentment. Yes, anger. And I'm going to turn that into action and into conviction. And I hope you will too. See you on the other side.